fucking airplane goggles.
He wears cowboy boots as well. He's a
Ruckus.
But then he says motherfucker. But he's the furthest from that guy in real life.
He was on my intramural basketball team.
He's not like that in real life.
Kevin Hart and Sherrod Smalls.
Oh, that sounds like our team of winners.
It was. Pete Corielli can drain it from the
Can
three.
he really?
Yes. The only guy that couldn't shoot was me.
Kevin Hart can play too?
For a guy that's 4'1",
But Bugsy?
he was the trophy.
Bugsy Bugs.
He was the trophy. Kevin Hart, when we won, we just held him up.
I would really love to play in a sporting team, but I know I'm so bad at it, and I haven't played for so many years. I assume I'm going to be worse.
Yeah,
I'd like to be involved in it.
But you know what the fun thing is you sub in, and we just call out some play to you, and you just act like you're good, and you let it unfold.
We let him play softball in Australia. It was embarrassing.
Softball, there's no hiding.
You were bad.
Basketball, you can hide.
I hit the ball. I made it on the base twice.
I struck out.
I did. I made it on the base twice.
Yeah,
The base.
I was drunk.
First to back. I did good, Daddy. What the fuck?
What's that from?
I don't know. It sounds like a Maria Bamford
I thought it was
character.
what's his
Baby,
name?
look pretty now, mommy.
What was the Corky when he burned down the house? That's for you, Dad. Do you remember? Did you ever see the episode where he burned down the house? You've seen it?
No, I like girls. I'm not watching fucking Life Goes On.
Have you heard of the album?
It's fucking amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
You know who Corky is?
Yeah, he's a Downy.
The Down syndrome.
Yeah.
That's for you, Dad.
I know him in infamy. I've never actually seen him.
If he
Is
was
he
in
still
infancy,
alive?
Yeah, he's in a
if he
band
was in
now.
infancy, Eddie Ifft would be fucking him.
Yeah.
We learned a lot in this podcast.
She was legal. She was legal.
Sure. It's a different time. It was a different time then.
Statute of limitations.
I want to know what happened with the guy in the heart attack on your plane.
Oh, he didn't have. He was having one. He was like, and they put him down next to me. I'm with this chick who's going to see her sell her her husband's dead shit.
I guarantee you, Jim, the guy with the heart attack got cognizant enough to stand up and challenge Eddie to fight. That's where the story's going.
Yeah, the story's going to end with he didn't have a heart attack. He was choking on a pretzel.
No, so they put him on the ground, and the flight attendant starts going. We're on one of those. What's the planes when it's 2 and 2 or 2 and 3? The small plane, 737.
The smaller one.
So she starts going. The flight attendant goes on the mic.
Really a stickler for details there, Dennis Miller.
Is there a doctor on the plane? Nobody answers. Is there a nurse on the plane? Nobody answers.
Is there an X-ray technician on the plane?
Is there a paramedic on the plane?
Has anyone here ever been to the doctor on the plane? Have you played doctor as a child?
I leaned over to the chick that I was drinking with, and I went, "I'm a comedian."
Why would you do that? A man's dying.
He's trying to get laid.
Because we were fucked up. But anyways, they just fucking kept going. We flew to our destination. We flew to our destination.
You don't remember what it is, your destination.
It could have been coming back here because I think the chick was going to like Ventura to fix her husband's shit. And but I was like, he's gonna die. Land on a highway. You know,
yeah.
I want to land on a highway. Ambulances pull up. You grab this guy because it's a selfish reason. I'm looking at I want this to happen if I'm on the plane. Now every time I'm 15 hours on a plane, I'm thinking, if I die, they just shove me in the back in the ice cart.
I think that every time.
You do?
Always.
Yeah.
Every time. And when I drive across country, when I'm in the middle of nowhere, I'm like, what if I have a heart attack right here? Who's going to get me?
Nobody really.
What do they do to this guy?
Meanwhile, a little girl gets stuck in a sailboat out in the middle of the ocean, and they'll send the Coast Guard, fucking Navy ships. And you remember that girl was sailing around the world and she got lost, and they send 5,000 people, but some guy on a plane. No, fucking businessmen got to get to Toluca Lake for their meeting.
You can't stop a heart attack in time by landing. You just don't have the time.
But you can go save a little girl who can't even drive a car, but can sail a boat around the country.
Docking in. Getting in, that's an hour trip from when you're in the air to the hospital.
Fuck it, he's dead.
He's
but
dead.
he didn't die, though, is the point.
Yeah, he didn't die. They landed and the ambulances were right there.
You don't know he's not going to die, Jeffries.
There wasn't even a paramedic to say.
Either he
choked on a peanut.
Or he doesn't.
That's life.
Yeah, sunrise, sunset.
So why do you go get that little girl that's sailing around?
Because you can save her.
Yep, but putting fucking 500 people's lives at risk by going to
I think those people should die, but that's an emotional story that plays out on the news.
That's bitch, you got a compass, figure it out.
Yeah.
This guy can't go, you know what, let me fix my heart, I'll be okay. Yeah. How was your heart, Jim?
I thought I had a heart attack once, it was just indigestion.
I've done that every day.
Apart from that, my heart's fine.
Burps are the greatest thing in the world when that happens.
When do you drink again?
I've got
Tomorrow.
No, I'm not drinking. I'm not drinking until at least February 9th.
But why do you stop at all?
Because I feel better when I've stopped. But I really enjoy drinking, but I feel physically better when I've stopped. And I get depressed after a night of drinking now. I never used to. I used to wake up after being drunk and feel like I'm awesome. Right?
I fucked Allison.
Yeah. I used to be like, fucking there's some chick and there's this thing, and then I got kicked out of that place and thrown down some, and I used to like be proud of that.
Yeah.
And now I wake up ashamed.
Because you're older.
It's
Because
a different
things have
thing.
happened.
Yeah?
Yeah,
How did you two meet?
What do you mean shit happened?
Well, like the cops in the neighborhood when you were walking by.
Yeah, that was nothing.
The cops pulled him over for drunk walking.
In Venice?
Yeah. And then
Everyone's drunk in Venice. They have the canals.
how
just so you
drunk
can-
was he then?
I was pretty drunk.
And the cops go, let's see your ID. And he goes, let me see your badges.
The ones that they wear on their
I
chests.
fought fire with fire, like I was mind fucking him.
And how did it work? How did it all end?
I walked home. They
let
didn't
you go.
get me. Obviously, I was charming enough to fucking get away with it.
You are a
I've
charming
never
man.
been arrested before, and I've said a lot of lippy things. So
How was your pitch at the Cubs game? Where did it go? Did it bounce?
it went about 6 feet off to the left.
But he caught it. 'Cause some
Oh,
did
he
catch it.
scooped it out of the dirt. Yeah, he did catch it. Yeah.
I did it once at an Expos game, and it was not good. I almost bounced it. And then I did it once at a Houston Astros game playing the Houston Improv, and I went, fuck it. And I threw that shit as hard as I could.
It's got to be nerve-wracking.
It is. And you feel, it's like, you've never, he said, like you're holding cancer. You've never thrown a ball before in your life. Never mind the hours you and your dad in the yard and the Little League.
Yeah.
You're just standing there like holding this Fabergé egg and there's some fucking backup catcher. It's never the real catcher.
Yeah.
It's the guy, well, I might get in if they run through the whole roster. It's always that asshole that catches for you. They
My guy
announce
wasn't
you-
even nice to me. I apologized
they're
for not
dick.
getting it there, and he just sort of looked at me like,
Baseball players are dicks. They're the most coddled fucking douches of all time. And they travel. They're only with other baseball players for 15 years.
the worst bit is...
And then when they go home, they get
They gave me
divorced.
seats 5 rows behind the dugout, and I had to walk off the field through rows of people booing me, yelling, go home to Australia.
And Cub fans are
Yeah.
known to be nice.
No,
Yes, that's the North Side. That's the white
like
wine.
they did it, and then
That's
there
like
was
49er
then there was
fan
a
versus
few
Raider
guys
fan.
sitting around going, "Oh, don't worry, it could happen to anyone." And
Yeah,
and
like
then,
Kelly Clarkson didn't throw a strike. You know what I mean? Who did they? Oh my God! The Cubs will never win because their pitchers apparently drink Jack and Coke. We learned that Allison
Wasn't there a famous
will
pitcher
sell merch
who
and have
was
sex
on
with you.
acid, and he went out on acid and he threw it into the crowd.
He threw a no-hitter or a perfect game on LSD? He threw a perfect game, and it's on YouTube, him talking about it. Is it oh my God.
Good for
I'll
him.
find it for you.
Oh, I thought he went out and just threw it into the stand, and then
No,
like,
he threw a
punched out
perfect-
like a fucking mascot or
A
something
perfect game
on acid.
on acid. And it was, it
Weren't
seemed,
Babe Ruth and all those guys fucked up all the time,
on
though, didn't
beer,
they? Used to get drunk?
beer and hot dogs.
Yeah.
It seems like most no-hitters in baseball happen, not these days, but in the 50s, it was always, it's not your turn, so you're just fucking drunk,
Yeah.
and you roll into the park, and they go, Whitey Ford can't pitch, Don Larson. You got to pitch game, whatever, the World Series. And Don Larson pitches a perfect game in the World Series, drunk, like still drunk.
I do everything better drunk. Everything.
You one of those assholes who are like,
Right.
I drive better
Yeah.
drunk. Give me my
Yeah, you
keys.
can't seem to
No,
order
I
food
won't
appropriately.
drunk drive
McDonald's
anymore.
drunk.
I used to drunk drive, but I will not. I will not do that because I'm just so afraid of jail or killing somebody. But
Why? Jail seems like your perfect place.
No,
Everybody
I-
fights
I-
with their
I-
shirts
I don't
off.
You can work out all
I don't like-
day.
I don't like being
There's
handcuffed.
a gym.
Doc Ellis pitched he was on LSD. He pitched. It wasn't a perfect game. It was a no-hitter.
That's fucking good though.
yeah,
What's the difference between a no-hitter and a perfect game?
Perfect game. No one walks. No one.
No, no one walks
ball
or
four take your
anything.
base. Like no one ever touches.
Because I
first
assume
base.
they still lost the game. It was a no-hitter. He walked a lot of guys.
Guys have lost no hitters.
I saw Tim Salmon throw one in Little League for the Reds when I was in Little League. Some kid threw a perfect game, and it's not hard to do in Little League, but it was like phenomenal. People were talking about this kid being like
Was Tim Salmon from
Tim
the
Salmon.
Angels?
No, another Tim Salmon. But it was the most amazing thing
Where's
ever.
Tim up to now?
He ended up being a tennis player.
Probably a broadcaster.
Yeah, tennis
A
player.
tennis player? It's a pretty guy. So you guys met how? And then
We met in England, but then we really met. We were in South Africa gigging together, and I had an AIDS scare, and he was scaring me a lot about that because I fucked a girl. There was blood everywhere in South Africa. 1 in 4 people have AIDS there, and my girlfriend was coming out to visit like 3 days later. And you can't just like start wearing a condom with your girlfriend that you haven't seen for like a month. You have to fuck her.
You got to act like you have diarrhea for 2 weeks.
Yeah, so I assumed I had AIDS, and then I assumed I passed it on to my girlfriend, and Eddie was there.
You just did it.
Well, I wasn't meant to do. She would be suspicious.
Hold on. I showed up 2 days late.
She's going to be more suspicious when her T-cell count drops and she's in a fucking hospital room going, what happened in South Africa?
So
I show up 2 days late to the festival. Jim's there, and he's usually the most talkative person in the room. And I go, he's moping in the corner. I go, what's wrong? He goes, I have AIDS. And I go, what happened? He goes, I fucked a girl. The condom broke. Blood everywhere. She was skanky. And I go,
a South African nasty girl.
And Jim's looking.
She's Trailer Park, South Africa.
Yeah. Afrikaans.
Was she?
Afrikaans. No, like the Dutch fucking like redneck.
Like that rap group that's hot now?
Yeah. Diane Wood. And, she's like fucking South African, like fucking, Yeah. It's fucking South African.
Fuck me, Jim Jeffries.
And she was after comedy cock real bad. And I did it. And there was
She was like fucking
everywhere.
the fat comic to get to the skinny comics.
So by the time you get to her, she still get the fat guy in her.
Probably.
Pretty much.
So
No, she didn't. Clinton Dunn.
Pie-face.
There's a guy that we call Pie Face called Clinton Dunn. If you want to Google some guy, look, has a more accurate nickname. You never, but this guy,
is he Iraqi?
He's alright.
He's fucking funny. He drove me around South Africa giving black guys the finger. He would go into the shanty towns and drive around and just give people, just honk, and people would wave, and he would give them the finger. And I'm like, dude, stop. We're in South Africa. I don't want to die. And he's like, mate, we're fucking white.
But
and I'm like, I don't want to die. Stop doing this.
He's one of these guys that, like, his lies about how his career's going, like,
can't have a career.
You can't just lie to me and say you're rich and then drive that shitty hatchback. I don't believe you. I make $1 million a gig. I do. I every time I go on stage, I make millions and millions of dollars. And then it's like, you don't. And then it's like, oh, I fucked those chicks over there. And then you go, did you fuck him? And they'd be like vomiting, like, no, he's just one of those guys. He was harmless.
But so Jim fucked this girl. And
so there's a girl that he reckoned he fucked. So I fucked this girl just to spite the fat guy. And then I didn't wear a condom. I lied over the years about that. And there was blood everywhere. And then
why is there blood everywhere?
She was on a period or something, or it came on during. And that's terrifying in South Africa.
South Africa,
it's like a hatchet wound.
So he's looking. He's looking for somebody to console him and say, "You're going to be okay." And he's like, "Oh, blah blah." And he goes, "I think I have AIDS." And I go, "You do."
So you go and have an AIDS test in South Africa. It only takes like 20 minutes. I don't give you that 2-week shit because it's Africa and they want to get it all done. They got the machines there ready to go.
Bono hooked it up for everybody.
Yeah. So what you do is you go in and have the fucking test, and they go off and take your tube. And in that 20-minute interim, they bring in someone with actual AIDS to comfort you. It's not that bad. I've got a bit of the AIDS. I'm all right. And then they try to hug you, and it's like, don't hug me, but maybe in 20 minutes we should have sex. You know?
Talking Shit with Jim Jeffries and Eddie Ifft is the podcast. I couldn't find it on iTunes because you guys got censored.
Yeah, it's Talking's Hit.
We're back on now, yeah.
No, but we're Talking's Hit.
Yeah, we got to get a new name because we never get on New and Noteworthy.
Talking Trash. Just make it easy.
They won't put us on New and Noteworthy.
Don't be talking trash.
Talking Trash is all right.
Talking Trash?
Why do you say, why isn't it called Jim Jeffries Podcast where Eddie Ifft has sex with redheaded minors?
Wow.
No, I mean minors, like Chilean minors.
Is that
no?
But if
minors, the guys that work in mines.
Does that make some quirky
I saw
word?
you on Ghost Whisperer.
There's got to be a real nice, like, what do you call it when you have initials to something and it spells out?
An acronym.
Yeah, that's got to be a good acronym. Jim Jeffries Podcast where Eddie Ifft has sex with strawberry kisses.
Well,
I know. We'll figure it out.
It was
Jim,
fun. It was nice
Jim and Eddie.
Jim and
Eddie. Jay.
Do a free podcast.
Jim Jeffries, for the record, Eddie Ifft has never had sex with minors.
No, you could spell out the word hash.
Look at the I'm glad you have all this exercise equipment where you don't use.
Wow.
You didn't.
Yes.
You didn't.
He loves bodies.
You didn't just show Jay Mohr your abs. Because he teased
my abs? That's a gut right there.
Yeah, and I heard you talking about that. You're like, my family has guts. You eat too much.
No, I come from a long line of guts.
No, you don't. It's fucking.
What was your mom's? What was the name of the elephant?
Gunter. My mother's
Gunter.
My mother's morbidly obese, but she gets put in hospital all the time.
I gotta go though.
She's in hospital constantly, and she goes to the doctor
eating?
Well, she just hypochondriac.
No, I mean, why is she morbidly obese? Does she eat
from eating?
Okay.
Eating food. Yeah,
it's my glands.
Yeah, she said she had polio as a kid, and she uses that for fucking ever.
How about how many fat people go? Well, I was in a car accident. Like, that's how their fat.
Is that Ralphie's?
Yeah, have you ever seen? You ever seen that woman that has has like a kid, and then that's the reason she's fat, right? But you're like, I knew you before you had the kid. You were always fat.
Yeah.
And they're like, since I had that kid,
your mom just eats constantly.
My mother, I would really love to play in a sporting team, but I know I'm so bad at it, and I haven't played for so many years. I assume I'm going to be worse. Yeah, I'd like to be involved in it.
But you know what the fun thing is you sub in, and we just call out some play to you, and you just act like you're good, and you let it unfold.
We let him play softball in Australia. It was embarrassing.
Softball, there's no hiding. Basketball, you can hide.
I hit the ball. I made it on the base twice.
I struck out.
I did. I made it on the base twice.
Yeah,
the base.
I was drunk.
First to head back. I did good, Daddy. What the fuck?
What's that from? I
don't know. It sounds like a Maria Bamford.
I thought it was what's his name?
Baby, look pretty now, mommy.
What was the Corky when he burned down the house? That's for you, Dad. Do you remember did you ever see the episode where he burned down the house? You've seen it?
No, I like girls. I'm not watching fucking Life Goes On.
Have you heard of the album?
It's fucking amazing. Yeah, it's amazing.
You know who Corky is?
Yeah, he's a Downy.
The Down syndrome.
Yeah.
That's for you, Dad.
I know him in infamy. I've never actually seen him.
If he was in infancy,
he's in a
if he was in infancy, Eddie Ifft would be fucking him.
Yeah.
We learned a lot in this podcast.
She was legal.
Sure. It's a different time. It was a different time then.
Statute of limitations.
I want to know what happened with the guy in the heart attack on your plane.
Oh, he didn't have. He was having one. He was like, and they put him down next to me. I'm with this chick who's going to see her sell her her husband's dead shit.
I guarantee you, Jim, the guy with the heart attack got cognizant enough to stand up and challenge Eddie to fight. That's where the story's going.
Yeah, the story's going to end with he didn't have a heart attack. He was choking on a pretzel.
No. So they put him on the ground, and the flight attendant starts going, we're on one of those, what's the planes when it's 2 and 2 or 2 and 3, the small plane, 737.
The smaller one.
So she starts going. The flight attendant goes on the mic.
Really a stickler for details there, Dennis Miller.
Is there a doctor on the plane? Nobody answers. Is there a nurse on the plane? Nobody answers.
Is there an X-ray technician on the plane?
Is there a paramedic on the plane?
Has that fucking airplane goggles?
He wears cowboy boots as well. He's a
ruckus.
But then he says motherfucker. But he's the furthest from that guy in real life.
He was on my intramural basketball team.
He's not like that in real life.
Kevin Hart and Sherrod Smalls.
Oh, that sounds like our team of winners.
It was. Pete Corielli can drain it from the three.
Can he really?
Yes. The only guy that couldn't shoot was me.
Kevin Hart can play too?
For a guy that's 4'1",
Bugsy?
He was the trophy.
Bugsy Bugs.
He was the trophy. Kevin Hart, when we won, we just held him